Hey everyone, my name is Kendall and I'm with Indie Black Catholic Women. You can find us on Instagram at ArchIndie Black Catholics. First, I want to thank Valaiso for inviting me onto her platform to discuss some of our favorite Black saints or saints of color. I was actually debating whether or not to talk about these two individuals because there's already so much debate on whether or not they are Black women or women of color. Today I want to talk about Saints Perpetua and Felicity. Saints Perpetua and Felicity were Christian martyrs who lived during the early persecution of the church in Africa by Emperor Severus. We are fortunate enough to have the actual record of the last days of Perpetua and Felicity at the hand of Perpetua herself. This account is known as the Passions of Saint Perpetua, Saint Felicity, and their companions. Around 203 AD, Vivia Perpetua made the decision to follow the path of Christ just like her mother. And she became a Christian even though this meant that she would be put to death during these times. Her father was a pagan and he was sick with worry, and he was always trying to convince Perpetua to change her mind. At 22 years old, Perpetua was a well-educated, well-to-do young woman who also had a newborn son that she was nursing at the time. She had every reason to want to live. One day when her father was trying to convince her again to change her mind, she was speaking to him, and I'm paraphrasing, and she asked her father, and she pointed to a vessel or a pot or vase, and she asked him, "Can you call this by any other name than what it is?" And her father replied, "No." And then Perpetua replied, "Just like me, I can't be called any other name than what I am, which is a Christian." She knew that she had to follow Christ, and she wanted to follow Christ no matter what the consequences were. Later, Perpetua was arrested and imprisoned with 4 other catechumens, including a slave named Felicity. Perpetua was baptized before she was imprisoned, and she was known for her gift of the Lord's speech. She was known for receiving messages from God. She tells us at the time of her imprisonment that she was told by God to pray for nothing but the endurance to overcome the persecution that she was soon to face. Perpetua documents that the prisons were really overcrowded and the heat was extremely suffocating. She also talks about how the guards abused the prisoners with no care at all. Felicity was even worse off during this time, being 8 months pregnant, dealing with the harsh treatment of the guards, and sitting in the heat on hard floors in a prison cell with no room at all. It was also against the law at this time to, of course, not persecute or execute women who were pregnant, because this would be known as shedding innocent and sacred blood. Felicity was really afraid that she would not give birth before the date was set for their execution. She was afraid that she would have to go on this journey alone and not be martyred with the other 3 catechumens that she was sharing a cell with, including Perpetua. Just 2 days before the execution, Felicity gave birth to a baby girl who was later adopted by another Christian family in Africa at the time. Out of the slaves, the men were attacked and mauled by bears and leopards and wild boars. The women were due to face a rabid cow. Felicity and Perpetua were thrown out into the arena and attacked violently by this rabid animal. The crowd actually could not take this and screamed that they had had enough, so the guards removed them from the arena, got them dressed again, and brought them back out to be executed at hand. Before their execution, Felicity called out to the crowd and she said, "Stand fast in the faith and love one another. Do not let our sufferings be a stumbling block for you." Perpetua and Felicity stood side by side, hand in hand, and were killed at the hand of a sword. Saints Perpetua and Saints Felicity are the patron saints of mothers, expectant mothers, ranchers, and butchers, and their feast day is actually coming up soon, and it is celebrated on March 7th. Thanks for tuning in and just listening to me talk about some of my favorite saints, Black saints, saints of color, and just these amazing martyrs and women that we all should definitely look up to. I also want to take this time to again thank Valaizo for inviting me onto her platform and inviting me to collaborate on this segment with her. I really appreciate it. Thanks again so much. God bless. Thanks. Peace.